right, now you got sound now. I'm pretty sure you've got sound now.
I think I have to do that all over again.
You got to do it all over again. Anyway, so we'll just so welcome to the show, everybody. We're in the throes of post load shedding. No power here in Centurion as it stands, although the power should have come back on at 8:30. So anyway, we're sitting here. That's why you got the brrrr in the background, the wonderful Jenny background. And then we got Rob over here, who's doing some crazy stuff. And like I said before, we're going to have Ken with us, but also Ken is also being load shed, and so we will have Ken in a pre-recorded form very, very soon, I think. But before we do that, we have to do the thing that we do at the beginning of every show, and that's give a big shout out to our patrons. And here they are. Our patrons are the Jolly Orange Bunny, Ricardo Leon, Ratcatcher, Grant Harris are uncommon. Our rare eggies are Stefan Engelbert, Shadow Panther, Robert Wild, Philip Thompson, Legendary Lily, Kamikaze Badger, Niels Klaassen, Kahuna Koala, Ivan Gallets Crockett, Clinton Riddell, Clayton Bucker, Christopher Crane, Christoph Swat, and Ansel. The list's getting longer, people, but it needs to get very much longer because we've got some cool announcements to make for our patrons tonight. We're going to be telling you guys a bunch of little things that are going to be coming your way, so hang in there. We're going to go back live again. So I think let's just jump straight into that before we do anything else. Since we've got some of our patrons with us, I mean, Rob is a patron, which is also cool. And then we have some patrons in chat, I believe. I would just like to say to you guys that we're changing up the tiers a little bit. We would like to get people more involved, and we'd like to do cooler things for our patrons. And one of those things, yes, not those tiers, not tiers like as in levels, not water leaking from your face. And so one of the things we're going to be doing, and I would suggest to all our patrons to please be in chat on Wednesday night for Commanders, because if you're not, you're going to miss out on a very cool opportunity. We have decided that one of the things we're going to do for our patrons is we're going to run a Command This special that says whenever a new set is released and we get our grubby paws on a whole bunch of Commander decks, one of those Commander decks is going to go to a patron. That patron will then play that deck straight out of the box live with us on Command This, which we think is pretty cool. If you guys think it's pretty cool, then let me know. But that's one of the things we're planning on doing. So you get the deck, you get to come play with us live on air, and it's part of being a patron of Easy Gaming Group. So if that's something you dig, then that's pretty cool. The only commitment we ask is that if you are going to put your name in the hat for the draw to win the deck, that you make yourself available to play live with us on Command This. The other thing we're going to be doing is pretty soon there's going to be a merch store on the Easy Gaming Group website. And with that, we're going to give our patrons a special... Well, let's put it this way. When there is merch in the store, our patrons will have the first 10 days to themselves. So they will be able to order whatever they need. They will get a discount price on any merch that goes into the store. And they will have 10 days where it is patron exclusive. After that, we open it up to the general public and people can get whatever the patrons have left behind. Hopefully they've left some stuff behind and haven't left a mess and tied it up after themselves. But that's going to be pretty cool as far as the merch side of things goes. And we're also looking at doing special ticketing for our events for patrons. So if you're a patron, you'll get a discount on tickets to our events, etc., etc. These are all going to be worked into the tiers, so keep an eye on the tiers and see how your tier changes. So if you're an uncommon Eggy, there'll be some changes in there. If you're a rare Eggy, there'll be some changes in there. There will also this year be a mythic tier added to our patron, and that's going to be pretty spectacular. So just keep an eye on all of those things. I hope enough people got the message. If you know any of the other patrons who haven't or aren't in chat right now and you can get hold of them, drop them a message, let them know they need to check that out. We'll also be posting a sort of a press releasey thing on our website to let everybody know what's going on Patreon. You'll also notice if you go to the website now and you do want to log in, there is the option to log in with Patreon. And if you log in with Patreon, it will take you to very specific things on the website once they're available. They're not quite there yet, but once they're available, there are specific things on the website that patrons will get to see first. So, for example, patrons will be able to catch the latest deck tech and review articles that we put out. They'll get to see them first. Any of our content created videos that we make for particular products, our patrons will get to see them first. All of that stuff is available, will be available on our website for our patrons to make sure that you get the benefits of being a patron for Easy Gaming Group. But yeah, that's a couple of the things. Kuina Koala, what did I miss? Revenge says everything. He's right, you know, you missed everything. You'll have to watch the show again tomorrow to catch it all up. But that's the thing you can also do for people, is let people know that tomorrow this will be on YouTube as well as still sort of backed up in the Twitch cloud. So you can catch the show tomorrow if you need to. But yes, we'll catch the VOD. Good man. But now I think, Rob, we got together here to do a bit of deck teching for one of our events that's coming up on the 4th of March at the Fantasy Fair at the Rusty Hook. We are hosting the first of our 3 Pauper Triad events. And this one is going to be lots of fun. I think it's going to be it's the first one. It's the kickoff event. We've sold quite a few tickets already. Very excited about that. I bought my ticket. I can say that with pride. So I'm definitely playing, and we're chatting about the deck that I'm going to be playing a bit later. But I thought what we could do is Ken very kindly did a video for us, for you guys to watch, where she breaks down one of the, I suppose, grandpappy Pauper decks, which is Mono Black Devotion. So I think without further ado, Rob and I are going to sit here in silence for a bit while the rest of you get to watch Ken's awesome little video where she breaks down Mono Black Devotion. Now we have helicopters. I apologize for the noise. Good lord, it's all happening.
I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I can't hear anything.
I can, and I've got
I don't know if
headphones
anyone
on.
else can.
So, without further ado, let me make sure I hit the right button here on our StreamdeckXL, supplied to us by Nexus Media. It's just the most awesome tool for streaming. Here we go. This is Ken Duff talking to us about Mono Black Devotion Pauper.
How's it, everyone? I'd just like to say I'm so sorry that I can't make it tonight. Unfortunately, load shedding is a thing. But thank you so much for letting me make this video. And yeah, let's get into it. The deck that I'd like to showcase tonight is Mono Black Devotion. It's a Pauper deck that's been around for many, many years, and it hasn't changed much at all since about 2013. It's not just like a slow, grindy control deck either. It's fast and controlling and aggressive, and it's an absolute blast to play. While it's not currently among the strongest Pauper decks, it's still a force to be reckoned with nowadays, and it's still a popular archetype on paper and for online players alike. But it's definitely one of the more evergreen or long-lasting decks out there. And I think that needs some exploring as well. So to answer the big question, what gives it its longevity, I think we could break down the cards. So what's very important about it is that all of the creatures in the deck have value effects that punish our opponents or punish their boards. And paired with that, we have very strong removal and solid card advantage effects that prevent us from running out of gas. But the clear core of the deck is a little card called Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It's a creature that, upon entering the battlefield, drains our opponents based on our devotion to black. And that's the reason for the deck's name. So let's take a look at how the deck has evolved through the years, and we'll start in the year 2014. In 2014, the Pauper format was blessed with a card called Chainer's Edict. It was shifted down in a set called Vintage Masters, which, fair enough, was a digital-only set. But the Pauper rules specifically state that as long as a card was released at common rarity at some point, it'll be legal in the format. So that made Chainer's Edict legal in Pauper, and it gave Mono Black Devotion the tools to get rid of pesky creatures like Bogles. It also graded our removal package. Chainer's Edict was again printed recently in Dominaria Remastered, so like keep a lookout in your boosters. I got one. In 2015, the deck got another boost in the form of Gomag Angler. That's by now solidified itself as a format staple in other decks as well, notably Dimir Control. But the real game changer for the deck and the format in general came in 2016 when Monarch first appeared. In Mono Black Devotion, we specifically looked at Thorn of the Black Rose. Monarch is an ability that fits so perfectly into Mono Black decks. Usually, it plays out that once you resolve Monarch, you draw into enough spells. It's easy for you to kill creatures that your opponent play. And during later turns, it turns into like so much card advantage. It turns into something similar to Howling Mine, like a one-sided Howling Mine effect. For the rest of the game. After that, the deck stayed mostly the same all the way up until 2019, where its growth accelerated, and so many different versions of the deck started to evolve. In 2019, we received Defile and Witch's Cottage, and then in 2020, Cast Down was downshifted to Common, and Bone Picker was released thanks to Double Masters. We also got some pretty cool sideboard cards in Divest and Suffocating Fumes, and the deck has stayed the same, more or less. The same 5 cards still make up the core of the deck. The deck is like, I enjoy the deck so much because it's stayed the same for so long. The core is still the same. These 5 cards are still the core of the deck. And it's just incredible to me that in about 10 years of its reign in the Pauper format, it's stayed mostly the same. The only things that were changed or upgraded were its removal package and the fact that Monarch was added to it. And aside from that, it hasn't changed much. It's still at least one of my favorite decks.
So there you go. That's Mono Black Devotion from our very own Tin Street Egg. Thank you so much for that, Ken. I really, really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I haven't quite figured out how we get to watch it with you, because I watched it earlier, and obviously, so I know the kind of things you were talking about. But for those of you out there who are keen, Mono Black Devotion is a very cool deck. As you heard Ken talking about, you can play it quite aggro, get out there, bash people, drop your Gary, and then drain everybody to death. So that's pretty cool.
Like intended.
Yes, that's exactly what it's intended to do. Just so that's okay. So that's an option. Obviously, there are plenty of options, and there are so many places that you can have a look at for decks to check out. So check out Goldfish, check out Moxfield. All of these places have got deck lists for you to go and have a look at Pauper lists that you need. Also, I just received word today that one of our returning to paper players, which I'm very excited about, is Paul Bester, who basically sold up his collection a little while back to focus mainly on Arena because there wasn't enough paper play for him to enjoy. And he called me up the other day to say that I have his in reference to you have my axe and you have my bow and you have my sword and you have my all of this from the Lord of the Rings. Paul said to me, "You have my commons." So
nice.
Paul's going to be joining us for the event, which I'm very excited about. He's also said that he's got about 3 extra decks if anybody needs a deck that he can bring along. And so if you are wanting to come and play and you're worried you don't have a deck, there will be decks available. So Paul's going to bring some decks.
There will definitely be decks.
I'm sure Rob will bring some decks. Philip will probably bring some decks as well. So if you haven't got a deck but you want to come and play, don't be silly. Just get a ticket. There will be decks for you to play. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
I've got an Oars of Ephemerate deck that's busy floating around with no pilot at the moment.
That's horribly... Actually, that sounds really cool. But
it's a great deck. It's lovely.
It's lovely. It's a lovely deck.
Lovely.
So, Robbo, I think before we get into the next segment of our deck taking, I'd like to indulge myself a little bit here. And I'd like to say that I've been watching things... I was going to say unfold, but I think it's more like unravel. I think the multiverse of magic is unraveling. And I'd just like to take everybody back to a particular moment in the history of the Planeswalkers and magic and etc. etc. And I want to go back to the War of the Spark. And at the end of the War of the Spark, certain things took place. One of those things was that this pretty powerful dude became a not so powerful dude and got put into a prison by his butty. This pretty powerful lady went on a mission to go and redeem herself in various ways and live up to the sacrifice that was made for her. But certain things were not said. And certain things were not concluded correctly. So one of the things that I'm not sure if people are aware of is that Nicol Bolas's plan, after becoming the dragon god and ruling everything after Ravnica, was to hit New Phyrexia and take out Alish Norn, because he knew that they were a threat. This, however, did not happen because Liliana had a change of heart, decided to turn against him. And then Gideon sacked himself to save Lily from Nicol Bolas, destroying her through the...
Oh, is that why we don't have any more Gideon?
That's why there's no Gideon. There's even a card where you see Gideon's sacrifice, you know. But that's one of those things. But what was never disclosed to anybody was whether or not the bond that Nicol Bolas held over the Eldritch symbols on Liliana's skin was broken. And I don't think it was. So I think that wherever Nicol Bolas is in the prison realm, hidden, and this is going to sound really weird, inside his brother, because that's what the prison realm is, I think there's still some weird shenanigans going there. And I have a point to prove here. So those of you who watched, by the way, if you didn't watch any of the Pro Tour coverage this weekend, you missed out on some absolutely amazing magic. There were some crazy plays that went down, and there were some crazy decks. That Celestia Aura's deck from Benton Madsen that made it to the finals was just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. But Reed Duke played out so well.
I'll be honest, I had no idea the Pro Tour was on. Absolutely none. I did not see any information regarding it, which I felt was kind of sad. That we went from being this massive thing that everyone always knew about to being like, I don't know, it didn't seem to have as much I don't know, info about it available. So
look,
I feel like I completely missed it. I had no idea.
Stumbled on it. Like the day before it was going to happen, somebody was like, "Hey, there's going to be coverage of the Pro Tour this weekend." I was like, "The Pro Tour? Okay, cool." So I ended up watching it, and it was amazing. You should go check it out if you haven't. Videos have been dropped on YouTube from all the best matchups.
I'm definitely going to go and check it out because I'm a big fan of Reed Duke. I think he's a fantastic Magic player.
Dude, and in the final, he shows off just the absolute broken power of Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah, that's something I'd go and watch.
Yeah, it's definitely something you should go and check out. But anyway, so that happened, and then what happened was right near the end, just before the final, they dropped a little video, which is a teaser video for March of the Machine. So I'm going to play that now, and then I'm going to pick out 4 key moments in this little trailer that lend weight to my ridiculous conspiracy theory that all said and done, Nicol Bolas is coming back to save the multiverse for his own purposes. but check this out. none of the videos, is, in my opinion, have ever been as cool as the War of the Spark video. But this one's pretty cool. So now, let me take you through a couple of moments here. The first moment I'd like to bring to everybody's attention is this one. This is my hint number 1. Okay, this is a Monket. This is where Nicol Bolas and everything that he's started doing his shenanigans, right? So yes, we're seeing it from the point of view that, oh, it's going to be corrupted and oh, it's going to be taken over by Phyrexia. But it's one of the main images they show you is this Amonkhet scene. And it sets it up for something that happens a little bit later on. And now we're going to go to my second hint. Is this moment here. That is Liliana Vess. This is new video footage. This is not from any of the other videos. This is a lot of the stuff in here actually comes from other trailers and other videos. This does not. Except there is this really one, like just above the hint thing here, there's this really smiley zombie dude. But anyway, this looks like it's on Innistrad. And if you look at Liliana very closely and you look at her face and her neck, you'll see that the sigils like burnt into her skin are glowing again, because that's what her power does, right? But that means that the power is still coming from those things which we don't know or haven't been told yet whether or not Nicol Bolas still has some kind of power over them. Even though technically Nicol Bolas is mortal and is no longer a planeswalker, because the spirit gem was actually made out of Ugin, and Ugin's, you know, it's blah 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 blah. The point is that they do look like zombie armors. They do look like zombie orbs. But now we're going to jump to the 2 biggest hints in that video, right? This is hint number. This is huge. I mean, what? That is Amonkhet. That is Nicol Bolas. This is not rehashed old video footage. This is new footage that they've put into this trailer. That is Nicol Bolas. Right? So why would he be there if he ain't come back? Well, there is a new Nicol Bolas Elder Dragon secret lair drop that looks spectacular. But here and then here's the last one. So in that last moment where it says, where it talks about what does it talk about? One last hope to make one last stand, or whatever it is. That flash before we hit Alish Norn at the end. This comes up again. That is Nicol Bolas, right? Now, what's interesting is that this is Nicol Bolas, and this is taken directly from the War of the Spark trailer. As an Afrikaner, I do a double take every time you write Bolas. Yes, no, I get that. But to me, there are too many hints right now that something is happening with Nicol Bolas. Something is happening around our Elder Dragons, and I'm thinking that this is my theory. My theory is the rest of the Gatewatch who are left are going to make some kind of plan to try and wake up Ugin, because they need Ugin's help, and it'll be from Liliana. Okay? Because Ugin came to Liliana and told her that she needs to get on with her life and choose a better life for herself and honor Gideon's sacrifice, etc., etc., etc. So Lily's going to make contact with Ugin somehow. Ugin's going to realize what's going on. He's going to release the prison realm, give his brother back his spark, and say, right, you and me, we take down these Phyrexians, and then we'll see where it goes from there, right? He looks hungry though. Anyone got a sandwich? He does look hungry for sparks. You were on the Yawgmoth train until now. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's the Bolas train. Yawgmoth is all fine and dandy. I reckon Nicol Bolas is coming back. But that's just me. It's just a theory. But it's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. And if I'm proved totally wrong, then, I get proved totally wrong, and so be it. But I would love to have Nicol. I mean, who would not love to have this bastard back in the Magic the Gathering universe? He's such a great card, and he's such a great character. He's so cool to have around. He just creates so much chaos. Imagine they turn an Elder Dragon. Well, they turned a freaking Elemental. Did you see we got a completed Omnath? I mean, what the hell? Anyway, it seems a little excessive. And his ulti is that you get to draw 4 cards. Yes, apparently they're turning gods also. Although no, Heliod wasn't completed, not as far as I could tell. But there have been some spoilers, some previews and stuff. But go check them out. Also, hey, if you like my theory, back me up. But that's just where I am, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. You just want a completed Ashiok, says Greedy. That would be insane. Anyway, so that's my theory. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. It sounds like a solid theory, says Elementalist. Thank you, I appreciate that. Woohoo! A point for Crispy and the Nicol Bolas corner. Okay, so now. There was another theory running around 10th Street. I saw that yesterday, actually. Comments about what if they release the Eldrazi to take on the Phyrexians. That would be a thing. Imagine if they complete Emrakul.
Oh.
Bad. Bad.
Makes for some interesting standard play.
It could be super bad. We're doomed, System Street. Pretty much, I reckon we are. Okay, so let's just quickly jump. Exile, what? Exit, strafe left. For sure. Let's jump back to what we were discussing before I had my little self-indulgent moment of silliness. And I think we were talking about deck teching for Pauper for the Triad coming up on the 4th of March.
We're still on there.
Yeah, so we're still there. And now it's Rob's turn to do. In fact, do you want to go last? Because I could do mine.
I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. So Rob's gonna go. He's gonna talk to us about Jund Sacrifice, and I'm gonna throw.
No, not Sacrifice.
Sorry, Jund Cascade.
Cascade.
And I'm gonna throw this list up here on screen for people to see it while you talk it through, my friend.
So, this is probably not the most popular deck anymore. It was quite a lot more popular probably about this time last year. But it's still a deck that I really enjoy. Because it's just all about big dumb monsters and value. If you look at all the cards, all the creatures in the package, you've got Llanowar Visionary, which is a mana dork that adds a green mana, but it draws a card. Sarulf's Packmate foretells, draws a card. Avenging Hunter is one of the newest additions to this deck, but it's an initiative creature, so I mean we already know that initiative in Pauper is quite powerful, and to the point that they've had to ban some of the lower casting cost initiative creatures, the 4s, especially the ones in black and blue. Then it's Boarding Party, which is a Cascade, big 6 mana 6/3 with haste, and Annoyed Altasaur, which is a 7 mana 6/5 with trample and Cascade. So almost every one of these creatures replaces itself or makes a massive impact on when it enters. And then the spell package is where it gets quite interesting, because you've got the classic removal package, Galvanic Blasts, Lightning Bolts, Braids, Cast Downs, Chainer's Edicts. I saw that Ken spoke a bit about Chainer's Edict as a card. But there's 2 cards here that I want to point out. And the one is Cleansing Wildfire and Geomancer's Gambit. So where this deck is a little bit different to other Pauper decks is that it's a ramp deck. It ramps into these big monsters, and it uses Cleansing Wildfire and Geomancer's Gambit to do that. So if you look at what the cards do, they destroy a land, and then the controller gets to search for a basic, put it on the battlefield, either tapped or untapped depending on which version it is, but then it replaces itself, it draws a card. So this deck, in combination with the indestructible artifact lands that came with Modern Horizons 2, makes for a pay 2 or pay 3 mana, ramp yourself and draw a card, because you target your own lands that can't be destroyed. And this gives you the opportunity to be able to ramp up quite quickly, while having early turn players to be able to lightning bolt and remove annoying early threats until you put down big dumb monsters that get to attack. And that in essence is what the deck is about, and I love it because that's what I love to do in Magic. I love to put down big dumb monsters and have them turn sideways and attack people, and it's the greatest. And it's got all the sideboard tech to be able to deal with all the boogeyman decks of the format. So it's got the blue hate, it's got the tokens hate for the 1/1 flyers that come from a number of different decks. It's got artifact hate to deal with the affinity decks. So it's got all the answers in the sideboard to deal with the top tier decks, as well as being just the super powerful deck on its own that really can just do some dumb things if given the opportunity. And
Trickery is a bit nuts.
Sorry?
Electrickery is a bit nuts. One drop
Electrickery is a great
deals
card.
1 damage to target creature you don't control. Overload for 1 and a red, and every creature you don't control gets 1 damage. That's pretty intense.
It's fantastic. There's some great cards in that sideboard to deal with things. So I think the great thing about this deck is the fact that it very easily ramps in these 5, 6, and 7 mana spells. And the one great thing about Annoyed Altasaur Boarding Party is that they're both Cascade creatures. So I think the sort of the best that I've been able to do with this deck is to go like turn 5 Annoyed Altasaur, Cascade into Boarding Party, Cascade into Avenging Hunter, which is, what's that, 18 mana worth of spells on turn 5. So, I mean, if that doesn't appeal to anyone, then I don't know what does.
I think it sounds like a fun deck. I think didn't you play this against me the last time we played at Discworld Day? Was this not the deck you ran against me?
I played a similar deck, but with a different strategy to it.
Okay.
So, which was the other deck that I kind of had open here to talk a little bit about, because they're similar but not exactly the same. So the deck I was playing that day was a Gruul Cascade deck, sometimes called Gruul Ponza, which is more of a land destruction deck. So it uses Stone Rain and Thermocast and one Booley's Acid Moss. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. To be able to destroy your opponent's
land. I
lands.
don't care because you killed my land. I remember you killing my land.
And that's exactly what it does. It's a kill your opponent's lands so that they can't do anything in the early game, while you kind of ramp yourself with wild growths and Topus Sprawls, and then play big dumb stuff.
Sure.
And that's kind of what it does too. One of the other things just about the Jund deck, while we're talking about it, and one of the things that Cleansing Wildfire and Geomancer Gambit also does is it deals with the annoying decks like Tron. So those kind of decks that are trying to put together the Tron land of, you know, Urza's Mine or Urza's Power Plant, Urza's whatever.
Urza's other thing.
Yeah. Tower Mine, Power Plant, yeah, those three. So with those 2 land destruction spells, you can keep your opponents off Tron. So it can switch from being a ramp spell to just being a get rid of one of your annoying Tron lands, and helps the deck also then, you know, keep pace with these decks that ramp faster than it does.
Yeah.
And yeah, but in a nutshell, that's the deck. You know, it's getting a whole lot of mana acceleration, getting into some big creatures while playing some number of cheap removal, and then smacking face. There's nothing so satisfying as turning 20 power at your opponent and going, deal with this. Why am I looking at that guy?
Because that's Tron.
That's Tron. Oh, Tron. Oh, I thought it was Jace. Huh.
Tron got disc.
Oh, I just thought it was like some sort of thing. Okay, that's cooler then. Because if it was Jace, I'd just be like, oh, I'll be
Whatever.
blue.
Jeez.
blue dumb cards, dumb blue
This is
cards.
Tron, bro. This is Tron. He's there to help the
Nice.
users. Dude, it sounds like a really fun deck. I think it would be something I'd want to play at some point in time. Simply because you get to... I saw the Annoyed Altasaur when Double Masters dropped, and I kept thinking about ways in which I could run it and other things, and at that time I was particularly focused on Commander. And so I was looking at sort of gruel builds that I could build that around, but there wasn't too much going on in the Cascade sort of side of life for me at that time. So having a look at it here in this Pauper build, I think that's probably where it should go, and I think it sounds like a lot of fun if you, like you say, drop one of those turn 5, Cascade into 18 mana value worth of creatures on turn 5, on turn... your opponent sitting there going like, how do I get through that wall? Also,
so
if we look at the idea that if you do hit your Avenging Hunter, there you've got the initiative.
Yeah, and then that leads into all kinds of other advantage as well. But the other thing about Annoyed Altasaur is that it squares up really well against Gomag Angler, which is one of the creatures that Ken spoke about, which is the 6 mana fishy that has Delve.
Yeah.
And then Tolarian Terror, which is also a thing that gets played. You know, there's the blue-black, we
Fishies.
call it the UB40 deck because it's blue-black 40 power.
Yeah.
So all of those creatures are 5/5s, and then a 7/6 with reach and trample just kind of looks at that and goes, yeah, and what are you going to do?
So you go be your pretty 5/5. Off you go.
Yeah, you go sit over there in the corner and think about what you've done.
That's right. You don't get to have nice things. You go sit over there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
It is the biggest monster in Pauper as far as I'm concerned.
Well, there you go. 6/5 body on the board with trample. I mean, it's it's one of those things. So that's cool. Then let's talk about the little deck that I want to play. So the little deck that I want to play. Now I've gone and lost my freaking deck lists. There we go. Here's the deck that I want to play, and I'm gonna cover Rob's face up so I can talk. And Rob's gonna correct me if I'm wrong because I've played this deck once, and I had so much fun with this deck. But this is a Goblin Combo deck, and the idea behind this deck is to get a Putrid Goblin into your graveyard so that you can bring it back with Persist after playing a first day of class, so that you can continuously just sack it to your Skirk Prospector, who then makes infinite mana off of makeshift munitions, and you can just use that to destroy your opponents and kill them dead. Which am I right? Am I right? That's what it does.
That's that's the nuts and bolts of it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing.
And so what you've got is you've got cards like Faithless Looting, Unearth, these kind of things to bring back Deadly Dispute to kill off your Putrid Goblin to get it going. You've got Goblin Matrons to go and find them. It's a very quick deck if it goes the way you want it to go. No, this isn't the Impact Tremors one. this is the make infinite red mana to deal 1 damage infinitely to your opponent.
Well, I mean, Impact Tremors would work fine in that deck. I mean,
Sure, but it isn't that. But it's also got a little bit of like get rid of stuff in terms of Smash to Dust. Your sideboard handles a whole bunch of goodies, which is kind of cool. There's blue hate, there's artifact hate, there's Masked Vandal is an interesting include. So Masked Vandal is the one in the green. When Masked Vandal enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So that's just to get rid of any sort of nasty enchantment that your opponent has put down, because you do have other ways of getting rid of their artifacts. But it's a nice trick, and it's a nice sideboard tool to be able to bring in as a goblin, because it's a changeling, so you could find it with your Goblin Matron. See, I can be taught. But this is the deck that I'm going to play, and the reason I'm going to play it is because I had so much fun playing it at Discworld Day. Like I keep telling everybody about this particular format, is that I've been playing Commander for a long time now. And you would expect that in Commander, you would, make infinite something at some point. And I can honestly tell everybody that I've never made, I think I made infinite zombies once. But I went to play Pauper at Discworld Day last year. I played this deck, which I'd never seen before in my life. And in the course of the little tournament that we had there, I made infinite red mana twice. okay? Twice in one sitting. And I was sold. I was like, this is a format that I'm going to enjoy, and this is a deck that I'm going to like playing. Because it's my kind of deck. It's Rakdos, first of all, so red, black, my two favorite colors. Although I must be honest and say that mostly it's just black. The red's just a bonus. So that's how I feel about it. But these are the kind of decks that you're going to be seeing or coming up against at our little Pauper event on the 4th of March. And I think if you haven't figured out yet that it's going to be a hell of a fun format, then I think you're missing the opportunity that's there. It isn't. I went to FNM on Friday night at Sad Robot, and my last matchup was against Vince, and we went to a third game, a deciding game, and I know that it was standard, it's a different format, but that particular game reminded me of the fun I had playing Pauper, because it was the most interactive game of Magic I'd played in a very long time. And yes, it was in standard, and that was all fine and dandy, and it's great to have that in standard, but it just reminded me of the fact that every single game I played at our event at Discworld Day was an interactive game of Magic. It wasn't a case of sitting down and watching somebody else play with their deck. It was a case of, we're here to play Magic, we're going to do cool stuff, I'm going to do stuff to you, you're going to do stuff to me, and when it's all over, we're going to go, it was fun. and
that's the format.
And that's pretty much what it's going to be. On top of that, there are some prizes, there are some things, some play mats, apparently. I heard a rumor that there might be some play mats available for the top.
We should put them in my boot.
We should put them in my boot.
I'll take them home. I'll use them as a blanket for the winter.
There you go. See? There you go. Why does this thing keep telling me to type my message here? I don't want to type a message. I'm talking. Don't interrupt me while I'm talking, screen. Anyway, I'm just to do this again.
Hey, Tron.
You're
gone! I'm gone!
Greedy says there has been a criminal lack of blue deck decks today. It's okay, Philip's coming next week.
I can do blue deck decks. Take all the blue common cards you have, go to your fire pit outside, and if you don't have a fire pit, why are you even South African? Put your fire pit outside, put them in there, and let them burn. Burn. Because that's what needs to happen in the blue card. There's a reason why Pyroblast is called Pyroblast.
Make the water burn.
Blue cards must burn.
Boil. Wouldn't it be cool if Boil had been a common?
Oh. And my heart. Boil is... There are two cards that are very close to my heart. Boil is one of them. Choke is the other. They just stop islands from doing stupid things.
Dear. I see Greedy's getting upset. Says blue is the answer to everything. So for the blue players, Philip will be joining us next Monday, the Monday before the event, and he will be discussing some blue deck techs for us to go through as well. Rob's going to deliberately not come to that one because he doesn't want to hear it.
I'll type abuse in the comments section.
Cool, that sounds good. Boilers
kind of like the blue players are doing now.
Excuse me. Revenge says, I stand with Rob. Fire starters for a good bri.
Yeah.
Tin Street says,
not
Rob.
A good use for those comments.
Tin Street says, Rob for president. And Greedy says, Boil is nightmare fuel. Ah, yes, Philip, a man of culture.
That has only ever been said once.
Only ever been said once. Just once. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the show. Ooh, no, it's not. We have one last announcement to make.
Oh,
we are currently... Well, it's not Pauper, and it's not standard. But it is modern. And we are...
Okay, goodbye.
We are about to launch the 2023 Gauteng Modern League. We're just waiting to hear back from some of the stores about taking part in it. And we are going to be running a Comp Oriel Modern League. Unfortunately, it is going to be only in Gauteng for now. Sorry, Tin Street, but you can come up and play. It's one event every 5 weeks. I'm sure we can find a way to get you up here. But if it works in Gauteng, we're going to roll it out nationally next year. That's the plan. So keep your eyes locked on all our socials and everything like that. I can tell you that we have been supported for the final for the Modern League to the tune of 3 boxes and 3 Ultimate Edition 2 Secret Lair drops. That's for the final. So if you make it to the final, which will be invitational only after the initial rounds, it all depends on how you do in the comp rounds. You will be invited to come to the final. If you come to the final, you'll be playing for a crap ton of cards and cool stuff. That's what I'm going to say. So keep that in mind and keep an eye out for when we drop all that good news about the Modern League. We're just, like I say, waiting for the final stores to come back to us to say that they're in. And then let's do Nelspruit events. E.T., we'd love to, bro. We'd love to.
Yeah, let's go. Road trip.
Yeah, we can road trip. Where you want to play? What you want to play? Where do you want to play? What you want to play? We'll come.
Yeah. Give us a venue. Tell us what we're playing, and we'll be there.
Will there be any Pioneer events this year? Rob, I think you might want to catch that. I know that there are some RCQs that need to be taking place in the next little while. Do you want to just tell people about that quick?
So
sorry, did you see Tinstreet's response? So, every F and M. Sorry to interrupt. Rob, carry on.
Yeah. So we've got some RCQs planned for this year. We're going to be doing at least 4 during the course of this year. So the last one will be sort of on the scale of what we did last year. You know, a big massive event with big prizes and airfare and all of that. But we've decided to do them irrespective of the size of the prizes, because we felt that having them happen is better than not having them happen. So so for the guys that can still get themselves, you know, qualifications and get themselves over to the regional championships, that the chance of actually being able to compete in these types of events and still having the dream alive is better than sort of saving it up for one big hurrah at the end of the instance. So yeah, those will be happening soon. We're working on those. The first one will happen probably towards the end of next month. We've just got to do the final planning of that. It'll happen at our store at Top Deck. Yeah, so just keep an eye out for those kinds of things. They're bound to hit your social media in the not too distant future. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. Pioneer will definitely form part of that structure. I know that there was an announcement from Wizards to say that the RCQs and the regional championships will sort of follow particular structures from this year. So we might have to do some of these formats, you know, as dictated. Maybe that's the wrong word to use, but
no, I think I was going to say dictated, that we're getting dictated to in terms of format. It's one of those things.
I'm not sure if I hate the idea. You know, what we've noticed, I mean, as a community, we've noticed that when Wizards announced that the Pro Tour would be Pioneer, the one that happened this past week, almost no one knew about. But when that was announced that Pro Tour was going to happen and it was going to be Pioneer, an almost immediate uptick in Pioneer play happened. People started focusing on the format, started playing the format, and then realizing that it's not horrible. Pioneer is actually an amazing format to play.
Pioneer is good fun.
And I think if the same happens to other formats, modern, standard, limited, you'll see upticks in those formats as well, where people will actively want to play in those formats because they want to compete at a higher level.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just great for the game in general to have these kinds of events and have them being tied to specific formats, kind of like we had in I want to say the old days, but back, in the early 2010s.
Those are old days.
You had these pro tour qualifiers where you got told, like, show up at this place and go and play sealed deck and then have a top 8 draft. That was kind of what you did. And whether it was extended or block format, I mean, that's a format that I think, it can't happen anymore because we don't have the block system. But it was a ton of fun to do, was to play those kinds of formats, and then get into them and go, okay, the last block format that I remember was original Theros block. And that was fun, man, because you just had access to those cards.
Yeah.
So there was nothing outside of that block. You just played with the cards.
Yeah,
with
so,
them.
I mean,
It was a great
I think the last block set we had was Guilds of Ravnica, Allegiance, and War of the Spark.
Yeah. And I think, I imagine playing block constructed. Those sets. It would be great. There were so many cards to be able to use. And well, let's see what happens. But I think from a competitive point of view, I think there's a lot going to happen this year.
Yeah,
there's going to be lots of opportunity to play some better than F&M Magic. I think to put it like that.
Let's put it that way. There are going to be opportunities. There's definitely going to be some pioneer action going down at a competitive level, and I think there's a lot more. I think last year was kind of a stepping stone for a lot of events and event planners and things like that to try and say, okay, the doors are open now, what can we do?
Exactly.
And so there's, I think you'll see, I think just keep an eye on all the stores who are close to you or places that you can get to. Keep an eye on socials, keep an eye on WhatsApp groups, all of those things. You will be informed of what's available to play and where you can play and how you can play and how you can get in touch with anybody.
I'm also pretty sure that there's going to be an RCQ in Cape Town, because one of the Cape Town stores contacted me to sort of get an idea of when my dates would be for the season. So I'm pretty sure that one of those stores will be making an announcement soon.
Well, that would be great.
So there's going to be opportunity for people outside of Gauteng, obviously, to be able to participate in these kinds of things as well.
Sure.
And and then if I can say one other thing, Crispiwan, I just want to urge people to support their local game stores, like wherever they live in the country.
Yeah.
Because we've been hearing some stuff going on in the world out there, at least in the country, that there's some stuff happening out there, and might not be the best of environments. So when you've got local game stores, you can know that you can go there. But the guys are generally WPN represented, and which means that they've got a certain level of commitment that they have to uphold and a certain level of integrity. And I would strongly suggest supporting those stores versus going to random clubs in the middle of nowhere because you have trouble. So I just want to point that out and just let that out there.
I think it's a very good point. I also think that supporting your LGS is vital. Without the LGSs, we don't have a community. So I think it's just one of those simple things. This is an incredibly symbiotic community that we live in. Without the players, there's no call for the LGSs, but without the LGSs, there's no cards for players or venues for people to play at. So I think the door swings both ways, and I think that the stores, as far as I know and as far as I've seen, are very keen to get things happening for players. So let's push back and let's say, okay, cool, we're going to go and play at those events hosted by LGSs. We're going to buy our cards there. We're going to do all our stuff there, etc., etc., etc. There are obviously... good God, that was the most amazing thing. So have you ever had a girder dropped in front of your train of thought? Okay, that just happened. That just happened to me like right now. I was like, I had a thing that I was going to say, and then it was gone. It was just gone.
Wow.
But it's okay. I'm sure it'll come back to me. If it was important, it'll come back. If it wasn't, it won't. And then, we won't be any worse off for it. But it's called ADHD. Yes, it could be ADHD. Thanks, Tin Street.
Apparently there's nice balls for that.
Apparently there are some nice... Hey, but no. So, as a final word for this evening, I am going to say that I'm super excited for our Triad event. Not
Yeah.
Don't. Tin Street's like holding all the pills. She says she's not sharing. I'm also super excited for what's going to happen with the Modern League. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be very, very cool to see some nice competitive Modern play. I have one or two very budgety Modern decks that I might throw my name into the mix with. I don't plan to get anywhere near the finals because that's not what I'm there for. But it would be cool to play some Modern. And then of course, don't forget we are still gearing up and getting our final ducks in a row and crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's and stuff for this year's iteration of the Commander League, which will be happening in the second half of the year, and hopefully not clashing with any other events. We'll work that out with the stores involved to make sure that doesn't happen. But I must tell you that I'm also now, after watching the video and having my little brain melt conspiracy theory happen, I'm quite excited for March of the Machines because I think I would love to see Nicol Bolas back in the game. It would be so cool. Although whether it will happen or not, hey, we never know. But again, if you guys didn't watch any of the Proto action this weekend, check out the Magic YouTube channel. Go have a look at some of those games, particularly the run-up to the final from Benton Madsen. The boy qualified through an arena qualifier on his phone. Okay.
Wow.
And he made it all the way to the final to play against one of the greatest Magic players of all time, Reed Duke. You know what I mean? It's like a fairy tale story come to life. And I'm telling you straight up, when I saw that was the final pairing for the final, I actually didn't think Reed Duke had a chance, simply because of how fast that Celestia Aura's deck could do what it could do. And Reed just, oh my word, he was calm, collected, so professional.
But he's not any other way. Like that's.
I know. It's just when you see it happen, Rob. When you go watch the games, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, that Celestia Aura's deck destroyed mono white humans in about 15 minutes in a best of 5 semi-final. I mean, it just.
I'm definitely gonna go before bed tonight. I'm gonna go and watch some top 8.
Yeah, no, it was really, really cool. And also, if you like draft, you should go check out some of the draft stuff that was done over the weekend. So day 1 and 2, the first part was draft.
Pro Tour drafting is always bonkers. Like,
no, it's nuts.
These guys build decks and then they go like, I thought this was like a 1-2 deck, and then they 3-0 a pod, with other pros playing, and I go like, jeepers, if your deck is a 1-2 and then a 3-0s, what am I building? I'm building like 0-6s in a 3-round event.
Yeah,
wow.
No, it's very cool, and it was nice. What was really cool, and I think Corey Baumeister actually hit the nail on the head during one of his commentary sessions, where he said what he'd missed most about Paper Magic was the interaction between the players.
Yeah.
Was the banter that goes on during the game and the chats and the way. I mean, Gabriel Nassif must have popped up in so many things, and at one point he hard cast a Shark Typhoon in the middle of a top 8 game. He hard cast this thing, and Baumeister almost fell out of his booth. He was just going like, oh, if you weren't a fan of Nassif, now you are, because nobody hard casts a Shark Typhoon. So all these things that just went down, you should go watch them through, and it'll give you a really cool vibe. I mean, having watched them, I must be honest, I got a whole gears to go and play some Pioneer and just play some Magic with a whole bunch of people, but it all got too late and stuff, and I ended up watching the final late last night and so on and so on. But I'll get there, and I'll be doing a lot more playing this year, and I think it's something that I think we all need to do as part of the community. Just get out there and play some Magic. And I think that's pretty much. I think that's what I wanted to say earlier. Is just get out there, play some Magic. Dude, Stefan, seriously, bro. You want us to come up to Nelspruit, organize us a venue, tell us what we're playing. We will come. We will come and play. Okay. We'll make it a thing.
Tell us what we need to bring, and we'll make sure that it's brung.
Yeah.
And we'll come there.
Yeah.
There must be a church stall or something there that you.
Sure, there's a community hall that we can hire. We can all carpool. Exactly, we can. We can carpool up there. Make an adventure. It'll be fun, man.
We'll take a bus full of Magic players to Nelspruit and go and jaw. And
we'll arrive the way they arrived for Commander Day 2 years ago. We'll all arrive singing all the small things from Blink 182.
Sounds like a jaw.
And seriously though, if anyone's got any ideas about what they want to do, if they want to do stuff, if you want Easy Gaming Group in any way involved, drop me an email, info@easygaminggroup.com. We can sort stuff out and we can make things happen. It's what we want to do. We want to make sure that the community continues to play, and that's why we work with stores like Top Deck and with Sad Robot and with all the other stores, the Nexus, Dragontown, the stores down in the Cape that we've worked with for the Commander League last year, the stores in the Eastern Cape that we worked with. And I can tell you now, we've already got a new store in the Eastern Cape, so 13 stores on track for this year so far, and we haven't even started to push for the rest that we want for Commander League.
Was that in the Eastern Cape?
Hey, what?
What store is that in the Eastern Cape?
So last year we had the Den, now we have the Den and Pine Corner.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pine Corner is is the store where I used to get my Magic cards from as a wee lad just outside of high school, and maybe even still in high school. So yeah, big shout out there to Wesley Zietzman and to Warren and all the guys out there working hard to keep that community still alive.
Absolutely.
Well done, guys.
Also, just to the stores down in the Western Cape, to the Warren, to Sword and Board, to Durbanville Games, just to have you guys on board and do these things is always amazing. So we're really looking forward to big stuff this year, and I think that's pretty much it. I need to go and see if my generator has any fuel left in it to try and keep the lights on for a little bit longer. I'm sure Rob has stuff to do, and I'm sure all of y'all have got stuff to go and do stuff. How many store owners are called Warren? Assistant Street 80. But
just one, as far as I know, in Somerset.
As far as tonight's going, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, listening to us deck tech these little decks for the Pauper events. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We've got some ideas about what decks are available. Like we said, if you need a deck, if you're worried about not having a deck, don't stress. Drop us a mail. There will be decks available. Okay? If you've got questions, let us know. We'll hook you up with a deck to play. But until then, and until Wednesday. Oh, by the way, Wednesday is Commanders again. We're back. We've decided that we're doing a kill you as quickly as possible night. Simply because we're only going to get on stream at about 8:15, and then 2 of our members get load shed at 10. So we have less than 2 hours to get a game done, and we've decided that all our decks are going to be as fast and kill you as possible, and we'll see how that goes. So come through for Commanders. Patreons, make sure you come to Commanders on Wednesday night, because we are going to be doing our first giveaway, and we're going to be giving away, hold on,
I don't know about this guy. He was about to leave and now he's gone off back. Be another half an hour before anything.
One of these, either this one or this one. As you can see, sealed
that corrupting influence deck is gross.
Yes. Yes.
Disgusting.
Yes, it is.
It's disgusting.
Yes, it is. But okay, so you've got to be there in chat to get this one of these on Wednesday night. And then you've also got to commit to the fact that once we give it to you, you're going to actually come and play with us, because it would be kind of gross if you didn't. But Robs, thank you so much for everything you put in tonight. Thank you for doing your deck tech.
Pleasure, buddy.
To Ken down in the Carp, thank you for doing your little video and your deck tech. We really, really appreciate you and appreciate what you did. And to Robbles, buy your ticket, buddy. You haven't bought your ticket yet. You know how I know? Because I'm controlling the ticket sales.
I know.
Huh?
I
Seriously.
want to get in with the last ticket. I want to be the last ticket purchased
Uh-huh.
because always the guy that buys the last ticket is the guy that has the highest chance of winning. I heard that that's a thing.
I think that is in a different scenario. I would imagine that's got something to do with like a raffle or maybe. Anyway, so if you are keen to check it out, check out the website www.easygaminggroup.com. You'll find your tickets there. It was the first ticket. What does that? If it were, I was the first ticket, what does that mean? You poked, buddy. According to Rob's logic, you aren't winning anything.
Let's not go about anything according to my logic, though, because my logic can be very unsound.
Also, if you aren't a patron yet and you want to be one, go check us out for now on patreon.com/Easy Gaming Group. Check out the tiers that are available right now. They are going to be shifting and changing. You heard us talk about it earlier. There are going to be some things changing up. We are going to be adding that third tier. That mythic tier is going to be coming in, which is going to be epic. So go check it out. If you like what we do, give us some support. Help us do cooler things and more things and better things and more stuffs.
I wonder if the mythic tier is going to be like flying first class every now and again, so bumped up there.
Hey, that would be nice. Wouldn't that be nice? If we could like fly people to events. Like, that would be cool. Although we did it last year.
I was going to get bumped up to mythic. I want to get bumped up.
You want to get bumped up. We'll see. Maybe it depends on like how long you've been a member. Maybe we bump you up. But yeah, until then, everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and play as much Magic as you possibly can, because it definitely feels like it's a revival time and it's good. And Nicol Bolas is coming. I am returning.
Who knows?
I think just my Nicol Bolas.
If you're into that kind of thing,
you know, I am. Okay. Anyway,
it's just text boxes. All we're worried about is the text box. It's what it says in there. That's what we're worried about.
Take your Lotus and go away. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch you on Wednesday night for Commanders, and then we're back on Monday for the Egg Pod. Until then. Oh, and we may have another thing coming up that we'll tell you about when we get there, and it has something to do with this guy over here and a different game. But we'll let you know when that happens, when it happens. Seriously, ET, let us know about Nullsprite. We will come. If you build it, yeah, we will come.
Keen. We're keen.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Have a good one, and have a great week if we don't see you on Wednesday. Patrons, I would suggest be there on Wednesday or you don't get cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Good night. Peace and love.
Good night.